Shintaro, a fat loser from a small family, ends up learning something really important and now has to make a decision to either go to the side of hell or the side of heaven as life takes him into a deeper realization of what he is actually doing. A beautiful manga begins. The manga starts and the first thing seen is a rundown place filled with absolute garbage from top to bottom. Big piles of trash, plastic bottles and cans fill the entire space. A fat man is screaming on top of his lungs, sitting on a comfortable chair. He is playing a game, and inside the game, he died. He starts to scream on top of his lungs, shouting to his teammates that he was telling them to turn left but they went right. He gets so angry that he starts to bang on the desk. His chair slips, and he is about to fall. As he is falling down, he closes his eyes, and as he slowly gets up, he looks to his side and sees a portal in which 3 men with horns and a hellish place are looking straight at his soul. For a minute they mutter if they are angels, and Shintaro, absolutely blown away, mutters that the people look like demons. As he hears a sound from his back, he glances back to see 3 angels and a similar-looking portal also open to that side. As both the demons and the angels start to scream on top of their lungs, confronting each other, they quickly begin to fight each other, exclaiming that demons and angels cannot coexist or come to each other's places. As they enter the room, the angel quickly starts to smell the stench in the air, and as she figures out everything, she learns that this is not hell, nor is it heaven. They suddenly realize that they are in the human world. This is a big coincidence, something that is almost impossible. A dimensional rift was opened because Shintaro actually felt at such a ridiculous and precise vibrational combinational spot that it was so rare that a literal dimensional rift was created. Seeing this opportunity, Satan quickly comes up and tries her best to take advantage of it. She figures out that the best way to control Earth would be to just make Shintaro cooperate with them, and that way they can rule the entire Earth from just one house. Everyone on the demon team agrees as well, and they decide to pitch Shintaro the best offers available on Earth. Back to reality, as Shintaro questions life itself, Satan greets him and tells him that he is not dreaming and this is all real. Shintaro screams in surprise. Satan starts to list how she is from the Hell Company and she knows everything about Shintaro. His father died in an accident and his mother had to raise him all by herself. Satan states that Shintaro has done absolutely nothing in his life. He doesn't have a car, a house, a future, nor any family to look after. He had a pretty average childhood which would normally be ignored, and his education was pretty decent. After that, he left home and started living alone. He has absolutely nothing of interest and has no hobbies. Basically, in the real world, he is a shut-down parasite to society, the lowest of the barrel. The demons start to list all these things, giving him an option of selling himself to Hell Company so he can definitely get something out of it. Normal humans wouldn't even dare. The first thing that they would give him is a perfect, godlike body that is almost impossible for normal humans to achieve in a given time. They also add that after this, Satan would personally invite him to the greatest party that hell can be proud of, promising him external pleasures that are outside of any normal human capabilities, basically a ditty party. Of course, as they are offering this contract to him, they obviously want a part of this portal so that they can get their way into this world as well. Satan explains that since he doesn't have any regrets on Earth and essentially has nothing to tie him down nor any morals, he wouldn't have any problem accepting it, and he can just enjoy his life with whatever he can desire. Shintaro, being a loser, thinks about it and it kind of makes sense to a normal human like him. As he starts to breathe heavily, he starts to scream like a crazy man. He screams that it's finally here. He goes on and screams on the top of his lungs that finally, he has become the main protagonist of a fantasy story. He screams that finally, he's also going to say farewell to this cruel world and start a new life in a beautiful place without any hint of regret or responsibility. He grabs Satan's shoulder and screams that he would do it. He would do whatever they want. Seeing the sparkles in Shintaro's eyes, Satan realizes that he's already done for and he gives out her pen to Shintaro and asks that if he is okay with the things he's getting in the exchange, then he should sign. But in the very next instant, an angel interrupts and reminds him that hell is not a good place. The sky is dark, the environment is absolutely trash. It is impossible to breathe. It is dreary and shed forever. An angel and a heavenly representative, Michael, join in and start to promote their side of the offer. She explains how hell is a dark and sad place, and if Shintaro doesn't want to be around with demons, dark people, and problematic people, then heaven is the perfect opportunity for him. He was not at first bought by it, but when he sees the actual things that heaven has to offer, Shintaro's eyes widen, and his jaw drops to the ground. Satan, on the other hand, screams that heaven doesn't do stuff like that, but Michael just flips her off. The angel starts grabbing his fist, and in the next instant, they gave him a lap pillow that really guys like him rarely get. All the other angels surround him, and they start to look after him, and as always, his life completely changes and he completely starts focusing on the feeling and how his heart has been healing. As he looks in front to the heavenly side, he notices something really terrible. The angels are pinching their nose with a super big and tight pin that is almost making it impossible for them to breathe. With a calm voice, he asks what they're doing, and the angels, being pure and straightforward, explain how it is absolutely foul-smelling in here and they cannot bear the odor at all. They quietly request Shintaro to kindly close his mouth since the smell is so bad it's already more than enough for them to puke, making it impossible for them to breathe normally. Hearing this, all the confidence and all the happy feelings that he had completely shatters, and he remembers that he's still a stinky dude. But no hope is lost. Satan starts to insult Michael on how heavenly angels are. Satan then starts to upsell one more particularly wonderful thing, and that's a mirror that lets him check on people who had done wrong to Shintaro back in his life. In one of these instances, Satan shows a picture of a high school girl who was pretty terrible to him. She threw away an eraser that he helped her with, which also triggered him to get pretty severely bullied and isolated. She is a terrible person, and he can do small things to make her life very terrible. One of the demons offers a glass of water and tells him to pour the water onto the mirror, and as he does it, the water travels through the dimensional rift of the mirror and ends up falling onto the girl. The demon starts to explain how Shintaro can use this mirror to interact with people outside of the space, and he can peek into their life and do whatever the hell he wants. As they get more persuasive and more excited about how things can make sense for him, they start to really sell him the idea of getting revenge. Their upselling gets so strong that they also start to add on how he can really make a person's life hell. But in the next instance, an other demon joins in the conversation and explains how it is almost impossible to please him. She states that he does lustful hand exercises more than 3 times to appeal his desire, but still doesn't get quite enough satisfaction out of it. Everything shatters and they continue to mock how he's lazy, and he's proud of that. He is also really easy to get angry, has a lot of jealousy, and is a trash to society. They continue listing on what terrible things that he does, and what really hurts him is when they mention how he is so trash and so greedy that his mother had to take a massive loan just to feed him while he did nothing but play games. Now, hearing this, Satan himself didn't have any idea that they were going to do this, but they go beyond this and add on how he has never earned a single dime even though he's 32 and has solely been surviving on the money that has been given to him by his mother. As this results in her mother getting more and more financially distressed, they explain that his mother is basically living on scraps and feeding every dime to him and his selfish little life cycle. Shintaro's life completely goes into a realm of darkness and void. His will to be happy leaves his body after the two groups literally mocked everything and all the honor out of Shintaro. Satan starts to punish the demons, shouting on how they said unnecessary things and things that he never even knew, and they just made him feel even more worse than he already was. Michael, taking this chance, sits down near him and asks if he's all right. With an absolutely sad voice, he asks if his mother is truly in debt. Michael starts to explain how the demon was actually right. His mother is in fact in debt, and shows and explains how it's been 4 years since she borrowed money to support herself and him, and ever since that, she has been working relentlessly every single day to make ends meet. She also explains how she's been living almost on scrap food. Hearing this, he breaks down since it's his mother they're talking about, and no one in their right mind would like to hear those type of things about their parents. Michael starts to shout that it's not his fault, it's what the demons had said about her mother. But Shintaro starts to break down. He screams that he's a victim of everything. He's a victim of society and he screams that it's not his fault that he was born like this. He lets them know that his father died at a very early time when he was just a kid and his family because of that was always poor. They had absolutely no way to support themselves financially. He shouts that this world is based solely on success and failure, which is only determined by birth. He shouts that it is ingrained in the DNA of the people to judge people on their looks and ignore what they truly are, and he cries that people don't even know him, but still, just looking at him, people start looking down on him and make fun of him. Hearing this, both angels and demons actually go completely silent. Michael from the side explains how the world is truly the most cruelest place ever, and she brings out her wings and explains that she has a solution for him. She brings out a document and lets him know that with just one signature, he can get out of this corrupt land of evil and go into a heavenly place where there's absolutely no pain. Shintaro completely gets blown away and he looks at the document and Michael's face. He signs the agreement and in the very next second, he teleports into a place with no space, no dimension, no matter. He just stands in a void. He sees a sky filled with beautiful rays of sun with bright while colored clouds and a beautiful sky. This was the place in which Michael was talking about, a place with absolutely no pain, no human, no suffering, no emotions, just pure bliss, pure happiness, and pure mercy. For a minute, he just completely freezes, and a warm energy leaves his body. As he looks around, he is completely blown away. But when he realizes that he might be standing in the sky, from the side, a young voice lets him know not to be so barbaric and aggressive. A young angel asks if he agreed. The young angel signs something and closes his small diary and lets him know that he is done here. Being confused and in a completely different place, he asks what this place is. The angel is surprised and asks if he really didn't listen to what Michael was saying. The little angel starts to explain that this is heaven as he is agreed to be a part of. This is a place where only his best memories are going to replay for the rest of his time. As he listens to this, the angel goes on and explains that since Shintaro's best memory of his life was in the place where he spent most of his day and time, it was just his room. So basically, the best place that is engraved in Shintaro's memory is his own place, his own room. It would be now his resting place forever and ever. The little angel smiles and reminds him that isn't it nice that he is free from all of society, all responsibilities, free from all the guilt, and he's also free from his mother and her debt. The angel lets him know that now he can enjoy his life to do whatever he wants. Shintaro kind of felt tricked, and he lets him know that Michael didn't tell him anything like this, and he lets him know that this is not going to be any different from his usual life, and he mocks how replaying his best memory over and over is kind of ridiculous. He asks the little angel to cancel his heaven contract and screams that he wants to go home. But the little angel with a cold voice lets him know that he cannot go home anymore. He looks at him with a really mysterious and eerie look and lets him know that since it is Shintaro who signed the contract and has already transcended into heaven, he cannot cancel it no matter what, nor can he return back to the human world. Hearing this, Shintaro's entire world crumbles down, and slowly his surrounding changes into his own room where he spent most of his days. As he looks around, he sees his monitor, and on it, there is a play button and a video titled, My Story. As he clicks on the button, a video of his entire life plays right in front of him. We see the events when Shintaro was a 4-year-old. He was filled with enthusiasm and childishness. He liked catching insects and his dream was to become a dinosaur doctor. As he grew older, he wanted to be a hero. As he got more older, he believed that he could do anything and try anything. He also started to like baseball. But when he got 14, all his motivation completely slumped. He started to develop a thinking that no matter what he did, there is absolutely no reason. He explains that a hero is already decided from the day he was born, and there is no reason for average people like him to even try to become a hero. He explains how no matter how hard people try, with no talent, they can never be first. There are people in the world who are already on the top, and it's all been decided to them since their birth. He tells himself that he is 154 centimeters tall and has an ugly face and absolutely no talent. He adds that his life is a failure because he was born a failure. He continuously mocks his classmates, a small group of people who are born like losers, just like him. One of them wants to be a manga author. One of them is a girl who is not that pretty but wants to be an idol, and one of them is a hard worker who wants to ace all tests and become rich. He lets all of them know that they cannot do whatever they want and will most likely fail. This is the mindset that started earlier in his high school life, which he started to develop even more, and after he got graduated, he absolutely knew that he was not the best. He believed the philosophy that if someone knows their place and does nothing, it's a more intelligent move than to do something that they're not good at and try to outcompete the people with talent and with more luck on their side. That also followed when he was given a job opportunity, and in the interview, he didn't like how the interviewer treated him, and with a cold voice, he lets them know that it's a small company for him. Struggle and hard work are a joke. He doesn't think that it's anything important or it doesn't lead normal people to anything. He believes that if a normal person with no talent and an ugly face decides to work hard, he's always going to be outcompeted and outbeaten. Just like this, as his life got through and he got older, he started to see signs that people who dedicated themselves to their craft, no matter how intelligent they were, they started to see results. Just like this, the ugly idol girl who wanted to impress the world actually released more music, and the manga author kid who was always a nuisance to the class actually decided to become a mangaka, and the hard worker student actually decided to progress in his career. Seeing this, it broke him even more down because now his life is filled with regret and a contradiction to his philosophy. That was that no matter how much a normal person works hard, they cannot make it, but there are people who actually did the opposite. This broke him more physically and mentally, and this just led him into being a worse version of himself, and he started to lock himself up and started to avoid everything. Now seeing this entire biography of his life, Shintaro's life was right there in front of everyone. Seeing this with a sad voice, he asks if this is his life. He starts to laugh on top of his lungs and shouts on how this is exactly what heaven should be. Now, he can enjoy his life, do whatever he wants. No one would ever do anything, and screams that he doesn't want to do anything. No hard work, nothing, no sacrifice, just wanting to enjoy. But as he starts to mutter these words, tears start to overflow, and even his nose starts to overflow, and he starts to cry on top of his lungs as a broken human with no value, no source of motivation, just an empty shell of a man who has failed an important mission, an important task in his life. A man who has lost himself and hasn't found a way to get up. As he cries, from the back, a figure approaches, and with a chill voice, the person reminds Shintaro that this room is absolutely awful. "Who are you?" asks the man, and lets him know that they should go for a walk. They go back to the abyss of sky with all the wonderful colors that the world has to offer. As they walk for a minute, Shintaro's eyes slowly start to see ahead of him, and he sees an amusement park with a lot of happy people inside, and a little girl is smiling brightly with all the happiness. The man explains how this memory is of a child who died at the amusement park due to an accident, and this was her happy moment being replayed forever. The man explains how it's absolutely tragic and sad to have their best moment being replayed over and over again. As the girl sees Shintaro, she smiles and greets him. The man then shows him more pictures of a girl who died in a fire in her home, a room office of a worker who died of overwork, and also a man who died of illness. Then he keeps listing more and more cruel and painful deaths, of how a woman died of cancer, a missionary stabbed, a soldier who died in war, and he keeps listing their happy memories. With a tearing and cold voice, Shintaro lets him know that it's enough, he has enough, and screams on who he is and why he's showing him something like this. Tearing up and already broken from all the things that had happened to him, he lets him know that he hasn't been able to live his own life right, and everyone had lived their meaningful lives, and he has already given up. He has already lost all the privileges, and he cannot do it anymore. He cries that from day one it's all been about him, and all his life, all he had thought about is himself. He screams that he hasn't done anything, and the way he copes up with the failure that he has acquired, he blames on the world. He blames on his parents and blames on the wrongdoings of the society. He shouts that now he can finally escape and there's no reason for him to listen to this. He screams and screams that he needs an answer. If there is a person who can help him, he should tell him. He tells him that he cannot go back anymore and he's stuck. From the back, a little boy comes to the old man, cutely muttering "father," and a lady as well. The man then opens his arms, and when Shintaro looks back, he recognizes his mother, and the old man starts to explain how being able to embrace his own son was the happiest moment of his life. He asks if his son is cute. He begins to explain how he is small right now, but he's getting bigger little by little, and once he grows older, he's going to teach him baseball and make a lot of happy memories with him and visit various places. He explains how he plans to help Shintaro make a lot of friends and help him find his own path. But he cries that his life has already ended here. He lets him know that as his father, he'll watch over him forever, and it's a true loss for him to not be able to see him grow into the person that he wants his son to be. With an absolutely calming and marvelous voice, he lets him know that he is so glad to see that Shintaro has grown up to be a human, to be a man. Hearing this, Shintaro breaks down and starts to call out to his father. But in the very next second, the space that Shintaro is standing in slowly starts to crack, and from the outside, Satan's voice surrounds the place. In the very next second, the entire space begins to evaporate, and as a parting gift, Shintaro's father looks at him with absolutely merciful and beautiful eyes with hope and defiance in it, and he lets him know that he is glad that Shintaro was born as a son of his. Shintaro completely goes silent and doesn't speak for a minute. On the other hand, both angels and Satans were fighting amongst themselves, and Satan had actually torn away the document that Michael tricked Shintaro with. Now together, they started to add that they should look for Shintaro for the solution, and Shintaro, on the other hand, completely ditches them and he ran outside. Now outside, Shintaro for the first time ran like never before. He ran outside like a freed man, and he starts to remember all the memories that he had with his father, all the happy memories on how his father wanted him to be as a person. Tears cover his face, and he cries for the first time as a man. Finally, after weeks in the same place where Shintaro lived, a new tenant is being introduced to Shintaro's place, and the landlady explains how there's a pretty troublesome person living here and the new tenant might not even like the place. But as the landlady leaves, the new tenant musters the courage to enter, and when she enters, a group of both angels and demons are enjoying their wonderful time. It seems like they had finally found a person to debate with and get a contract with. But on the other hand, Shintaro had completely switched from a shut-in and a trash person to a person who is now actively with his mother and helping her in every day of her life. He started to work as a helper for his mother's restaurant, and as he took orders and did all sort of chores, our story ends with another person finding happiness and finding purpose and finding meaning in his life. In the end, it's always our values that are given to us and passed out to us by our parents.